What is it like being a Jamaican in Hawaii? Hi, I'm Xavier Murphy, the founder of Jamaicans.com. Today in Jamaicans to the World, we talk to Yanicke Lim Sang, a Jamaican who lives in Hawaii. How are you, Yanicke?
I'm fine. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm good, I'm good. So my first question, which part of Jamaica you come from?
Kingston, Stony Hill.
Okay. And what school are you representing? You know we're about our high schools in Jamaica or school. So which school you representing?
Immaculate.
Oh, an immaculate girl representing immaculate.
Immaculate girl. Yes.
So tell us your story. How did you get to Hawaii?
It's a long story, you know.
It's a long one. Okay,
long.
give us a
I'll
short.
shorten it.
All right.
So, like late 80s, migrated to Miami, lived in Miami for a long time. Um, and I met my husband at that time and moved to LA, lived in LA for a couple of years, then moved to San Francisco, lived in San Francisco a couple of years, and he got a big job in Hawaii, and now we're in Hawaii. And I've been in Hawaii 11 years.
Wow. So tell us a little bit about Hawaii, and let's start with the people. How are the people in Hawaii? The Hawaiian people. How are they?
They're very hospitable here in Hawaii. They're full of aloha. That's their big thing. Aloha not only means hello, like most people think, but it means a lot of love in their hearts. They're very sweet people, and believe it or not, Hawaiians look a lot like Chinese Jamaicans. So I fit in very easily. They're very much about environment and the land. The land is their spirit, so they keep their land like pristine. You know, you will see a lot of people cleaning up the beaches. They don't jump on rocks. They don't abuse the land in any way.
Okay. So I know a lot of people think that they're thinking Hawaii, they're thinking sunshine, they're thinking year-round vacation type deal. But I heard a fact. I heard a fact the other day that Hawaii gets more rain than any other place in the United States, and there's rain. So clear up the misconception for me. Is it like the day showers, kind of like when you go to the grill in Jamaica? You know you're going to get that shower in the midday, and then the rest of the day is kind of cool and so. Or what is it like?
That's all false. We
Okay,
don't get a lot of rain.
you don't. Well,
No, I mean, it's not like Jamaica or Florida where you have like morning showers and then it's clear in the afternoon. Here in Hawaii, it's very volcanic, yeah. So you basically have seasons, and the only time you get rain is raining season, which is October to February. This year it's going into March, which is kind of bizarre, but that's the only time you really see rain. The rest of the year is sunny all the time.
okay, all right. So I don't know where that fact came from that I saw, and it was like, Raider said this is one of the biggest misconceptions they said, and I was like, okay, I've never been, I don't know.
Well, you know why? You know why they probably said that is because recently we had a lot of flooding. So
Mm,
that's why. And we're in our raining season.
I see. I see. So we talked about the people. I want to talk a little bit about the food. What is the food like there?
I don't think I'm the right one to be telling about the food. Um, how can I say this in a nice way? Are Hawaiian people gonna see this?
They may.
Okay. The food is interesting. It's very interesting. It's very pork based, and I don't really eat pork. Um, And they have a lot of seafood and poi and stuff, but it's nothing like Jamaican food. They eat something called taro, which is I think is good. Most people don't like it, which is a squash that they make into a yogurt consistency, and they eat it with fish and like pickled tomato and stuff. But they eat a lot of pork. That's their main dish is roast pork, and yeah, but it's nothing like Jamaican food.
So so you mentioned, what was it? What was the name of that thing you said that you like?
Oh my gosh. So that's basically like a stew pork. It's like kalua pork, and it's like a roast pork that they stew afterwards, so it's shredded. It's like a shredded pork in like gravy that they put over the rice.
Okay, okay.
They that's what they have at the luau's here.
So would that be the one thing? And that's another question. What would it you'd say if I was to travel there? And I'm a pork eater, so I will
Oh,
eat
you love
the I will eat the, as we said, Jamaica, the Trenton. I will eat the Trenton.
it. You would love, but you know what's funny? One thing that was puzzling to me when I first moved here is that there's breadfruit on every corner. There's a breadfruit tree. We have breadfruit. We have OTT apple. We have sour sop, sweet sop. We have guinep. We have all those things here, except ackee. We don't have ackee or gooseberry or anything like that. But when I researched it, I'm like, how we have the same fruit and we're on the other side of the world. And I researched it, and actually, Captain Cook took a lot of the fruit from the Polynesian islands and took to Jamaica.
Mm.
Like OTT apple. It never rang a bell, but OTT apple, it's Tahiti. They come from Tahiti. That's why they're called.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting
So
fact.
a lot of the fruit in Jamaica comes from Polynesian islands.
Okay. So you were saying the breadfruit. Do they eat the breadfruit?
Oh yeah, they eat enough breadfruit here, but they don't eat it like us.
How do they do it?
They do it many different ways. They pickle it. They will like bake it and mash it in kind of like a mashed potato kind of way. Um, but they don't fry it and roast it like we do.
So have you fried it and roasted and given to some of your Hawaiian friends? And what did
I
they
have.
think?
They love it. I cook Jamaican food for all my Hawaiian friends.
Oh, so I guess everybody's over here calling you and saying, "Listen, Yanicke, when you're cooking Jamaican food."
They're begging me. They've been begging me to open a restaurant, but I don't have time to do that.
what
So
what what island are you on?
I'm on Oahu.
Okay, okay.
So that's
So
where
you're on,
Honolulu is.
okay. So that's the, I believe, the main island, right? Per se,
Yes,
the main island
yes,
per
the
se.
capital.
Is it? It's not the biggest though.
No, the biggest island is Big Island, which is the nickname for it, but Big Island is actually called Hawaii. So,
Mm.
oh, this is Oahu, and Big Island is actually Hawaii.
How many islands have you visited?
I visit Big Island, Molokai, Lanai, and Maui. So far,
And which one you prefer the most?
I love Kauai. Kauai is very lush
Mm-hmm.
and a lot
Okay.
of waterfalls. Yeah,
Oh,
and
waterfall.
rivers. Hmm.
And I guess it might remind you a little bit of Jamaica, I guess, or
Oh
the
yes,
waterfall.
but the landscape is a little different because it's more volcanic. So the
Mm-hmm.
shape and formations of the mountains are much different from Jamaica, but there's a lot of areas that are very similar.
Nice, nice. So when people,
It looks like a land of Chinese Jamaicans basically.
so so this is gonna make this question interesting. because you say that, being you are of Jamaican Chinese heritage, you say, people tend, you look, you blend in. But
Hmm.
when people find out that you're Jamaican, what's the typical reaction?
You don't look Jamaican. I'm like, what does Jamaican look like? But yeah, that's what they always say. You don't look Jamaican.
So they don't ask you like, how come, you know,
They
maybe,
do. They
okay.
do, and they like rest of the world. A lot of people don't know that there's Asians in Jamaica, so we're kind of unicorns to the world.
So in terms of, music, I know there is reggae there because there's one of the popular bands was nominated, I believe, for Grammy, Hawaiian reggae band, or have Hawaiian members. And and on the website we've featured, I think, a couple times Hawaiian reggae bands. But is it like a popular type of music there, reggae, or is it mainly the American mainland type music that you hear?
Reggae is the main music of Hawaii. They're obsessed with Jamaican culture. I think the band you're talking about is J Boog. J Boog is like the Hawaiian Taras Riley. He sounds just like Taras Riley. But a lot of reggae concerts come through here. Chronix has been here, Protege, like Damian Marley is here every 6 months. So a lot of musicians come through here. And Hawaii, they more favor roots more than dancehall. They don't really understand the dancehall, but they love roots and they love oldies. But they have formulated their own reggae genre, which is called Hawaiian music, which is a mixture of Hawaiian and reggae.
So what's the difference? How does it? And I know you're not a musician, so maybe you can't get too deep into this.
Oh no, I can.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
What's the difference? I mean, because I know reggaeton to me is it's reggae, right? Just with a tinge of Spanish flavor. So how would I know the difference between was it Hawaiian reggae,
Hawaiian.
Hawaiian and regular reggae? How do I know the difference?
Hawaiian reggae sounds very rootsy, like roots. I mean, it sounds very similar to our music. I mean, it sounds like roots reggae. But the only thing with Hawaiian music, which is very different, I call it bubblegum reggae.
Hmm.
It's not like our roots music where there's struggle, and and the reality of the streets. Their Hawaiian music is more about being in love, and it's like love music, like rockers kind of music.
So it's almost like lovers rock, to
Yes,
an
like
extent.
that's all it is. There's nothing about struggle in the Hawaiian music. It's more about being in love and the stars and the skies and the beach and yeah.
I have to go check it out, the genre. And you're right. It was J Bugs. Is
J
is
Boog, he's my
Yes.
favorite. Yeah,
Okay.
he's really good. There's J Boog and another girl who actually does a lot of music with Taras Riley, and her name is Anuhea. Anuhea, Anuhea, and she's really good. And another band called Uka Damak, and they're dub conscious, heavy roots.
You look like you look like you know them, like you could actually promote some of the concerts there and so on, because
I do.
oh, you do promote concerts.
I'm not a promoter, but I do events, so I know a lot of the musicians, and I put on shows here.
Oh, that's interesting. That's good. That's really good.
Yeah.
So being that you put on events, and and so on. That means my next question is perfect for you
Mhm.
because I want to know if I come to Hawaii, what is an experience you're gonna say, Xavier, you must do this. It could be a place to go, it could be an event. You say, make sure you come around this time of the year because there's a specific event. Or again, it could be a location, it could be, hey, this concert or this eating dinner here. What would that one thing you would say? And it may be just your personal preference. What would you say that would be?
Honestly speaking, I wouldn't really tell you to come here for a musical event because I feel like you get the best events in Miami and Jamaica. Not that here isn't great, but it's not going to be anything different for you. My recommendation it would do something is would basically be something with the ocean and outdoors, and I would recommend probably around Christmas time to come here to see the big wave surfers and the surf contest in the North Shore where surfers come from all over the world and they're surfing 40 to 60 foot waves. That's something to really see.
Mm. So I'm going to take a chance now because you've been there 11 years. You know the
Hmm.
question I'm going to ask.
I
Have you
know.
been on a surfboard?
I have my boys, my sons are pretty big surfers. And they're also, they surf every single day. I have tried surfing many times. I suck at it. I'm awful. But I can surf. But I have to surf the really tiny waves in Waikiki, not where my kids surf, because they surf pretty big waves. But I do prefer stand-up paddling more than surfing.
Okay. All right. So I know if I come to Hawaii, I have to talk to your sons because they'll be the ones to give me the lessons, not you.
Not me. No. Mm-mm. You don't want me to give you no lesson. Yeah, my kids are pretty good. Like the little one, my 14-year-old just got sponsored.
Oh, that's
Mhm.
awesome. Congrats. Congrats to
Thank
him.
you. Thank you very much.
That's
Yeah.
nice. So in terms of language, I understand there is a Hawaiian language. Um, and you know, have you learned any of it? You're not required to learn. I figure English, I figure, but again, you live there, English
Mhm.
probably is the dominant language. However, there's another language there. Are you required to learn it if you live there? Or is it used often? Tell us about the Hawaiian language.
So the main language here is English. They do have Hawaiian language that they teach in schools. You're not required to learn it. More Hawaiians here are trying to learn it though, and go back to their roots because when the America overthrew Hawaii, they made them get rid of their language. So now they're trying to reconnect with their roots and learn the Hawaiian language. The local language is Pidgin. So you have Hawaiian language and you have Pidgin, which is like their version of Patois. And it sounds just like Patois, but a little different.
Mm. So is it based on Hawaiian, the pidgin I'm talking now, is it based on Hawaiian, or is it, taking words from the Hawaiian language and the English language?
It's a broke up English like us. Yeah, like
Okay.
they say brother. Yeah, when you come here, they're like, "Walton brought up," So it's very similar, um,
Right.
but it's a different accent.
And your children are learning Hawaiian.
Oh yeah, yeah. They take Hawaiian. They can do a little pidgin. and in school they study Mandarin.
Oh,
Mhm.
multiple languages there.
Yeah. Pidgin is not considered a language, though. Only Hawaiians consider a language. Pidgin is just like Patois, it's just broken English.
Hmm.
Yeah, but they are studying Mandarin.
That's good. That's good. In terms of, I know there's how the people who are born there, but in terms of diversity and other people, is there a lot of people from like what you'd call the mainland US there, or where you are? And you obviously you probably won't know everywhere else, but are you finding that okay, a lot of people are coming and saying, I'm coming here to retire, or I'm moving here from the mainland because I want this Hawaiian lifestyle?
Hmm. So the diversity goes. I personally don't find it as diverse as like Miami. Um, it's a lot of people here think it's extremely diverse, but it's only diverse really with mainlanders and a lot of different Asian countries. You don't really see a lot of black people here.
If you do, most of them will be coming through the military.
Okay, I see.
Mhm. And it's extremely expensive. It's one of the most expensive places in the world to live, apart from Australia. So, yeah, the mainlanders that do come here are probably the more well to do mainlanders, mostly from California.
Hmm.
A lot of people from California live here.
Okay. Okay. That I figure it's close enough, and so yeah. So and listen, Yannick, I really appreciate you spending some time with us and telling us your story there. I'm winding down. You're probably looking at me like, man, I hope him to have 20 odd more questions, 20 odd more questions coming at me here.
This
Um,
was nerve wracking, but yes, thanks for having me.
and I know, but you had told me you plan events and you do weddings there and so on. So you have probably seen quite a lot of the island and learned quite a few of the customs there. Is there any customs that you've found that you're like, this is a little different? And again, I'm not saying it's unusual. It's just a custom that they may do there. Maybe it's a custom you see in Hawaiian weddings. Maybe it's a custom that you see with something else. Can you share any of those with us?
I will give you two. Um, the custom that I actually love here, that I wish Jamaican people would adapt or have the same kind of custom, is their connection to their land. Their connection to their land and ocean is so admirable. They basically are so connected that if the land is interfered with, or if the land dies in any way, that the people would die. The beaches, all beaches are public. You can't own a beach here. Unlike Jamaica, like you can't charge to go on beaches, anything like that. So I love those customs. The custom that I find very strange is that it's a very old custom, but the Polynesians, when they greet each other, and the young people, the young Polynesians don't do this, probably the older ones from old traditions, but they will put their heads together and they will blow in each other's face.
Oh,
Like they go, and yeah, that's a little bizarre for me. But so that's a very old tribal tradition for them, and they have a nickname for mainlanders and mostly Caucasians, which they call them howlies. And what howly means is the man with no breath. And
oh,
that's because they used to greet each other like that. And mainlanders never liked doing that. So they call them people without soul, people without breath. Yeah.
So, do you do that custom?
No, not at all. No.
Has anyone, okay, has anyone attempted to do that with you?
Yes. A older auntie, you know what I mean? And that's another thing here, like all your elders, even if you don't know them and they're strangers, everybody, similar to Jamaica, but even strangers, teachers, anybody, everybody is auntie and uncle.
Ah, I see. Yes, that's one of the traditions I grew up with, and trying to get out of it because I have folks that tell me, okay, I'm not really your uncle or your aunt. Just call me by my name, and I'm like, I can't. I grew up known
Can't.
as
No.
auntie this or uncle that.
Here is even different because here they will call auntie and uncle to a complete stranger. So if you're standing up at a store, a little boy will come up to you and say, "Uncle, like, can I get in front of you?" or something like. Even your teachers, your principal, everybody's auntie uncle.
Nice, nice. I tend to like the tradition. I like
I
that.
do too. I think I do as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, respect. It's respect. So, what do you love? What do you absolutely love about Hawaii?
I think um, the culture, the people. Polynesian people have a lot of hearts. They definitely have a lot of hearts. They're very united, very united. They uplift each other, they support each other. Like I said previously, their love for the land, um, and their culture is very rich.
Good, good. So here is how I typically end, and I'm gonna be putting you on the spot because unlike some of the other folks, you have never seen any of these videos before. So you're definitely going on the spot for this one. I typically end with you teaching me how to say goodbye in the most informal way in the language. So how would you say goodbye in Hawaiian, or kind of like see you later, or little more or whatever? And maybe you don't know, but I'm figuring 11 years there, you must have picked up on something to say.
No, I do, but it's very generic. So basically, just like how they say aloha for hello, they also
Right.
say aloha for goodbye.
That's so easy.
That's what I'm saying. It's very generic. They'll do the shaka and they'll say aloha. That's
Okay.
it.
Okay. So I like that. So this is wait, which fingers now?
Your
Oh,
thumb and your pinky, and you
okay.
you shake it. So you say aloha.
All right. So Yanni, thanks again. And uh,
Aloha.
show some love now. Hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell. That way you don't miss a video.